I wanted to talk to you guys today about differentiating yourself from your competitors based on your personal brand. And there's a lot of different ways to do that, and I'll talk about it throughout my presentation. But I want to start out by asking you a question. How many people here have ever considered the idea of writing a book? Okay. The book that you were thinking about writing, did you see that in any way as being a sales tool or a way that you could grow your business as a result of authoring that book? Okay. What I have found is that, and I will talk to you about a variety of different ways that you can elevate your personal brand using what I call digital media positioning, including social media and a variety of other things. But it's been my experience that the single most powerful thing you can do to differentiate yourself from your competition and elevate your personal brand above the noise, the background noise, is to become a published author. And I'll talk to you about how you can do that, why it works so well, and how to leverage it. The last thing I'll say before I get started is that just writing a book by itself is not sufficient. You need to have a plan of how you're going to leverage it and how you're going to use it to make yourself better known in your target market. So I've been here listening to you guys talk about what each of you do for business. Is there something that comes to mind that each of the people around this table all do that they have in common? The expression I'm looking for is we all solve problems. Okay, if there was no problem, we'd have no business. Okay, I didn't hear anybody who's a plumber, but if the hot water heater blows up, that's a problem. Didn't hear anybody here as a divorce attorney, but if you're getting a divorce, that's a problem. Security problems, ransomware, that's a big problem. Getting your home refinanced, that's a big problem. Trying to get your business out of a rut, that's a problem. I've got pain, I'm going through chemotherapy, and I'm looking for relief, that's a problem. So big or small, personal or business, business to business or business to consumer, what we all do is solve problems. The problem is, with those problems, is that's what our competitors say they do also. Oh, I can get you refinanced, no problem. How do we make it easy for the customer to choose us over our competition? And what I would say is you need to start with, who is your customer? I happen to have a book or two here, and one of them is a book, my most recent book, Digital Media Positioning, The Art and Science of Attracting A-List Customers. One of the biggest points I'm making here is that you should be seeking to attract only what I call A-list customers. People for whom the value of your service is magnified, because in their situation, where I wouldn't say it to their face, but I'll say it to you, my A-list customer has more money than time. They're looking for a fast, permanent, effective solution to whatever their problem is. And they're willing to pay a premium fee in order to receive a premium service. And so I would suggest to you that you should be looking for those people as well. And for anybody who'd like a copy of this book, I'd be happy to email you a PDF copy of it. Obviously, I can't go through everything that's in the book in 20 minutes, but just give me your business card. I'll be happy to send it to you. If you'd like to sit down and talk to me further about what it is that I do, I'll be happy to give you a copy of this book, the paperback, autographed, which makes it worth a lot more money. It makes it an easier read also. Okay, so I target A-list clients, and for me, those are business owners, professionals like doctors, lawyers, CPAs, architects, coaches, and consultants. And generally speaking, my A-list client is someone who's been in business for 10 or more years. So they have a great deal of experience. They've seen just about everything you're going to see in this business, seen all the problems, and they've come up with all the solutions. They're interested in dramatically elevating their personal brand and increasing the size of their business, both attracting better quality clients and a higher quantity of those clients. Now, there's on the other side of the A-list, there's the S-list. Anyone know when I say S-list what I might be referring to? Yeah. So what I would submit to you is, for most business owners, we spend too much time dealing with S-list clients. First off, because there are more S-list clients out there, aren't there? A-list clients are harder to find. But the fact is that you can attract those A-list clients, and think about what it is that they want. They want to deal with an expert, or at least somebody who's a proven solution provider. And one of the things that makes it easier for them to choose you, as I would put it, you're the easy choice, is if you're a recognized authority what it is that you do. A subject matter expert. Now, one of the reasons why a lot of us avoid this is because we don't want to raise our hand and say, hey, look at me, I'm an expert. And the process that I use doesn't require you to do that. Instead, let me put it to you this way. I'm sure you guys are great at what you do. When I heard the number of referrals that you got around the table, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to switch the story to you. Number 1 or number 2 in the country for most trademarks in a given year. That's a clear indicator of expertise, of authority positioning within your industry. But if I hadn't been here today to hear you say that, I wouldn't know. And if I didn't make an appointment to sit down in front of you and talk to you about my intellectual property problems, I wouldn't be able to get a sense for how expert you are at that, or how passionate you are about taking care of your clients, or how great your bedside manner is. Because it's all locked inside of us, inside our brain, inside our heart, and until I'm able to sit down and directly in front of you, I'm not able to draw it out. But what if instead you were to take the approach of what I call donning the mantle of the generous educator and sincere advocate? Somebody used the word advocate. Said, I advocate. That's it. That's right. With your designs. I advocate for my clients. And that's wonderful. And if you think about it, I'm sure every person in this room does the same thing. You want your solution to work for this client. You want them to feel better. You want them to get that refi. You want them to be ecstatic about their new kitchen. But if you don't also combine the generous educator side of it, where you're consistently generating content out throughout all the digital channels that are now available, then you're missing a humongous opportunity that's available to all of us today to let people know what we know and how we can help them. I'm probably going to get a little bit off track because I don't have my slides to keep me straight. But I want to submit something to you. I send out a weekly email as part of my digital media positioning. And a couple of weeks ago, the subject line was, what if your book only touched one life? And what happened was, over the course of 1 week, 3 authors that I had worked with reached out to me to tell me about messages they had received from complete strangers who had read their book and it had had a positive impact on their lives. For me, I know we all enjoy helping people, as I do as well. But I get further satisfaction when I see the people I've helped helping their people and the impact that their teaching is having on their tribe. I like the tribe concept, that this is not necessarily your target market or your client. These are people who resonate with your message. So rather than thinking, oh, I'm trying to act like a big shot, I'm trying to tell everybody what an expert I am, I want you to turn that around and think about what you're doing is you're hiding your light under a bushel. You could be helping thousands, perhaps millions of people around the world who have the exact same questions that you've heard over and over again from your clients. But because, for whatever reason, you don't want to invest the money, you don't want to act like a big shot, whatever it is, you are not doing this. Or it could be that you don't know how to do it. And again, I can recommend a book to you on the topic that will help you figure that out. What I want to do is give you 2 or 3 examples of people who have done this that I've worked with so that you can see how it can benefit you. There's 2 primary ways that you can leverage a book to generate income for yourself. The first one is as a sales tool. Okay, this is a book of all things I've worked with. I've worked with physicians and all the different types of people I talked about that are my target market. This is an HVAC contractor, air conditioning, heating, etc. This is a family-owned company. It's a father and son. Father started the company 38 years ago, or longer than that, because the 39th year was the 12 months after their book came out. Now, all of us who have been long-time entrepreneurs know that over the course of 38 years, that HVAC business kind of grew like this. But this man reported to me that in the 12 months after his book came out, his sales increased 61%. And the reason why is because he used the book as a sales tool to differentiate himself from the competition. He, in the past, let's say your air conditioning blew up, you get 3 bids. And in the past, if he wasn't the last person at the table and his bid was $50 or $100 higher, he'd lose to whoever the last person was, because in the minds of the homeowners, it was apples and apples. Why shouldn't I choose the guy's $50 off? But now, this guy is the one who wrote the book on the topic. And in fact, this book helps homeowners to avoid having to spend $100 on a service call because it gives them a 10-step checklist to go through for whatever kind of system you have to figure out why it's not working before you pick up the phone. Generous educator, sincere advocate for the success. Sales went up 61%. Now you can also use this. This is a tool that he uses to close sales. So that's late in the buyer's journey. But earlier in the buyer's journey, you can use a book like this as what's called a lead magnet. For example, I said to everyone in the room, if you're interested, I'll give you a digital copy of my book in exchange for your business card. If you make an appointment with me, I'll give you an actual copy of the book autographed. So you can drive sales into the top of the funnel. You can close sales at the bottom of the funnel if you use this as a sales tool for your existing business. This person's name is Martin Sines, and he had a successful federal contracting business, he and his wife, and they started making a lot of profit, and they started taking the profits and investing in real estate. Then they started investing in distressed mortgage notes. I know more than I ever thought I'd want to know about distressed mortgage notes after having worked with him. I won't share too much with you about that here. But he was at a note investing trade show, and somebody came to him and said, you know, Martin, you know this stuff cold. I notice everybody's asking you questions. You should write a book about it. He said, I don't know. I thought about it. I don't know how to write it. That person introduced Martin to me. Martin's now written 3 books. This was the first. But I can tell you this book was published on May 5th, 2017. And when I interviewed Martin the following December of 2017, to ask him how much revenue he had generated, he's over $150,000. Now, the way he's done that, unfortunately, I had a great chart that showed where all the money came from. But there's a thing called the value ladder, which at every point of interest that a customer may have, you should have a product, an information product, ready to sell them for wherever they are. So he started with a $14.95 paperback book. Also available is Kindle and audiobook. Then he actually stepped down to free information and started a Facebook group that has about 2,200 members in it right now on the topic, further establishing his expertise, answering questions, doing live interviews, hot seats, and this type of thing. Then he created a $1,500 2-day workshop. Room like this, 6 to 8 people. It's $9,000 to $12,000 that he generates in 2 days. Has expenses running the room and so forth, but lunch is on you. Then he also he came back down a step. He has a $600 online course. It's the same information that's in the 2-day live workshop. But on top of everything else, he started offering $25,000 mentorships. He will give you 3 hours a week of his undivided attention, 3 hours a week for 6 months for $25,000. And at the time I spoke to him, he'd had 6 people go through that, and that was December of 2017, and I know he cycles them every 6 months, 3 people at a time. In any event, it's been quite profitable for him. So the reason I bring this up is Gus used this as a tool to grow his existing business. Martin used this as a tool to switch from being a service provider to an information marketer. And now he's actually doing both things. All right, so I'm going through my mind, the slide deck in my mind. Okay. There's another author I'd like to introduce you to. One of the things I'd like for you to think about is just merely the impact of having a book as your calling card, as your resume, as your brochure. I recently met with a client. He'd been a previous client of mine. This guy is it's like a CEO for hire. Venture capitalists and merchant bankers hire him to go in and run companies and grow them to a certain stage. Then they sell it, then he goes on to the next one. So I've been fortunate to sort of follow him along, and he's hired me at 2 or 3 previous businesses. So I stopped by his house in Old Town, and I saw a copy of my book on his dining room table, which I thought was odd. But one thing I'll tell you, people don't throw books away. They throw your business card away, your brochure, whatever you got from the... but they never throw the book away. And so I saw it there, and I knew it was an older version because this one has a matte finish and that one had a glossy finish. Anyway, he said, Frank, I'm going to a meeting in Florida this week, and I want to see about if I can get you on board with our new deal. I then spoke. He's the CEO of the company. He had his senior vice president of marketing call me, and the guy said, well, I've read your book. And he goes, well, I got to admit, I didn't really read it, but I did skim through it, so I don't need to really hear about your background. How much are you going to charge us? I mean, it just took the whole thing right off the table. And this was my resume. This was my calling card. So I want to leave you with this. Two things. One is something called content repurposing. I am recording this presentation. I record every presentation I do. I was going to show you a photograph of me giving a presentation. That it was a 90-minute presentation. I boiled it down to about 47 minutes of recording. I combined it with my slide deck, and I turned it into a 47-minute video. Then I chopped that 47-minute video up into 25 individual little short one-topic, one-solution videos. And then I posted all those videos on 4 different platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. In effect, that one presentation turned into 100 social media posts. That could also go into a book, because really every paragraph is one point. Maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs makes a point. Turn it around the other way. This book could turn into 52 weeks worth of social media content, because of the way I do the structuring of it and so forth. Very quickly, what I would suggest to you, if you had any intention of doing anything like this, first thing is to create your message. There's 3 points. Who do you help? What problem do you solve for them? We talked about problem solving. The third thing is, what's your secret sauce? What's so great about you? Why should I choose you? What makes you different? What makes your solution more effective? Once you have those 3 points put together, then write the back cover of the book. Think about it. Every nonfiction business how-to book says, in this book you will learn. And then there's a sentence or two of text, series of bullet points about milestones you'll hit, and then a little bit about the author that says why you should listen to this person. Write the back cover of your book. Make it fit. Make it enough, not too many words. You now understand what the big promise is of this book, and I would also submit to you, you understand what the big promise is of your business. The big promise is this is the transformational experience that will accrue to the reader if they invest the time and money to buy and read this book. Why should somebody read this book? Why should somebody do business with you? Thank you, folks.